Okay, so this next batch of questions is going to be a little more personal. It's going to be
Hmm,
basically about you. I'll just say them all. Your people want to know your undergrad major, your
sure.
extracurriculars, your average. Um, so if you're comfortable, do you want to just share those? I know you talked a bit about like your experience in university, so maybe just talk about like your hobbies in high school and your average.
Sure. By average, you mean like my high school marks?
Hmm.
Sure. So let me see if I remembered. I'm also going to preface that high school marks, in my opinion, does not matter whatsoever. Once you get into a university program, no one's going to look at your high school marks. It's just something that they have. Um, Not that you have to now start failing all your high school courses. I'm just saying that if you do poorly, don't think it's going to be something that will be in your long haul for a career. I got, I think, like an average of a 92, whatever that means. Some people take private school, some people have easier teachers. So that mark, in my opinion, doesn't matter at all. Like, I don't know what that 92 means with respect to my friends or to another school. What are some of my hobbies in high school, though? I was in student council. That's pretty typical for some people that like leadership roles. I did some tutoring here and there. I was in a couple of the leadership conferences that I helped organize. That I've also talked to and I've taught high school students that have done way more than I have ever done in high school. I remember majority was just going back and go home and play Halo with my friends and Call of Duty, and that's something I focused on mostly, just because it's just I wanted to enjoy my life. I really didn't want to like give that much pressure on me. I already had enough parental pressure on me, so I just wanted to make sure that you all are able to not stress too much as well, and that whatever you do is not going to be like a checklist. Don't do things because of the checklist to get into whatever you need to get into. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really good answer too, to not like stress too much in high school, because it's the one point of your life where you can kind of take it a little bit slower and enjoy a little bit more.
Yeah.
So a big tip for high school students who want to get started in the medical field is to build some sort of support network.
Yeah, I think so. I think, much like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village and your friends and families to study a degree, right? No matter what degree you are, you need support systems. It's very difficult to study alone. It's very difficult to apply alone. That also, you know, um, is involving finances, right? Medical school, university is not cheap either. So you also want to make sure that you have a support network that's able to help you throughout your studies. Students don't make any money, trust me. The only way I made money was when I didn't study for that 1 year. Now I'm studying, I don't have any money. So making sure that you have good support financially and emotionally and mentally is incredibly important.
Okay, thank you.
So a lot of people want to go into medical school just because they think that like becoming a doctor is obviously a very prestigious job and it pays really well. But what are things that you would suggest that are some qualities and prospects that you would highly recommend for those students to pursue medical school? And what are qualities that if people do have, you would suggest that maybe the medicine field is not for them?
Yeah, doctors make a lot of money. Sure, if they make much higher income than maybe a lot of jobs, and our jobs are stable. So we actually had one of my guest mentors who was an ER doc give a talk to the high school students on Saturday, and he's like, our jobs are stable. Like, you're never going to have a time period, whether it's COVID, pre-COVID, after COVID, that you're like, I think we don't need enough doctors. All right, it's going to be there. Jobs are going to be there. The relations to whether or not it's worth it, you're also not getting that much money right away. There's a ton of studying and schooling that some people are not, prepared for, or willing to dedicate their lives for, because they want to start families, they want to explore other interests. So that's a big commitment. I have friends that are actually now married, and had a really big career going on and then realized, I really want to go back into medical school and apply. So that's a conversation that I have to have with your partners now. It's like, do we have the finances? Do we have the time? That's something that's really important. And again, this is something that's so long away, but it's just a reality for a lot of students though. Another thing that students should be thinking about more on the con side of a doctor is that burnout is a huge issue. So for those who don't know what burnout means, it just means that you are so stressed to the point where you can't really do anything. You don't enjoy what you're doing anymore. There's no motivation to continue doing whatever job you were doing, even though you may have really loved it in the beginning. So a lot of doctors, because they have such long hours, because they have so many patients to see, especially during COVID, the prime example, where you have some of the sickest patients now, and also like the number of patients, that it's very stressful and anxiety inducing. So that's something that you also have to worry about and think about. Am I willing to have that responsibility on me? And also the possibility that you may not have a lot of people to reach out to when you are in a situation where you're faced with people dying on a daily basis. I've seen patients pass away or became incredibly ill in front of me. And for me, that was heartbreaking to see. And you have to think about, are you willing to do that every day, potentially? Is the money worth it? I would never, ever encourage someone just because they want money or finances to go into medicine. It's just not worth it. You're better off choosing other careers for those purposes. But medicine really is a privilege, to kind of go on a more positive note. I've heard stories from patients that they have never told anyone in their lives, and I'm just a medical student. I'm not even a doctor yet. So the medicine field is a very privileged, very humbling experience that not a lot of jobs can offer, where some people, when they visit you, are in their most vulnerable time in their entire lives. They have no one else to turn to, and you're the only person that they can talk to. I've heard stories that will break anyone's heart, and just thinking about it is going to get me a little emotional. And you know, when you hear those stories on a day-to-day basis, is that worth it for you? Is that mentally draining? Is that emotionally exhausting? Is that worth the paycheck? You know what I mean? So for me, it is, because I enjoy it. I love medicine. I love the education part of medicine. That's the primary reason why I went into medical school, is to teach and to educate others. So that's something I enjoy. But I know a lot of people aren't able to do that, and that's totally fine.